Food. I love food, I must say. If you were to play Would You Rather and there was food involved, I would be very likely to pick food over something else. For instance, would you rather have watermelon sugar or Harry Styles? I'd pick watermelon sugar. I am obsessed with Italian food and Indian food. Love a good curry, love a good Rogan Josh, love a good naan. I always pick pasta when I go to an Italian restaurant, which people seem to think is weird. But to me, it's just like pizza is. I like pizza every now and then, but a good Italian pasta just hits the soul like nothing else on earth. And if I'm not feeling well or, feeling a bit down or whatever, spaghetti bolognese is where it's at for me. I love spaghetti bolognese, especially if I'm not feeling well. Then it's just kind of like a good pick-me-up, and I could, if I were to be stuck with one food for the rest of my life, I'd pick spaghetti bolognese. And I'd eat it every single day, and I would be so happy. Sticking with that kind of vibe, cottage pie. If you don't know what cottage pie is, it is bolognese mince, or I think it's called minced meat for a lot of people. So bolognese mince with mashed potato on top. Sometimes some people put breadcrumbs on the top of that. You also get shepherd's pie, which I think is the same thing, but with vegetables in. I always get confused. One of them has cheese on top. It's not cottage pie. Cottage pie doesn't have cheese on top. But that is also, if you're not feeling well, that is really, really good. And it's kind of like baby food, so it's easy to digest. My mom always makes it with rice and peas and then like mixes it all together. And that is something that I love, and it makes me feel so comforted and so at home. For myself, I love to cook a good roast. Obviously love to eat a good roast, a lamb shank with roast veg and rice and gravy. I don't know if gravy is something that most people have with their rice, but basically it's like, I guess it's like a kind of stock mixture thing, like a meat sauce, but you put it on rice, or I put it on rice. Some people put it on their rice, their potatoes and their meat, and it's really good. And I think that it's British. I think they mostly put it on meat. I'm not sure, but that's also really yummy, and it's really easy to make. You literally just put the roast in the oven and leave it and walk away and come back. It's always a nice one if you want to look like you're a super good cook. Then you just make a roast, Google it, YouTube it, whatever. It's so easy. And then when you're done, it looks elaborate. It seems like you put a lot of time and effort in when you really did not. And yeah, tastes really good. People love it. Of course, unless you're serving vegetarians, then you're going to have a very difficult time making a vegetarian roast, which is not something I've ever tried. If I'm serving vegetarians, I go for a vegetarian curry because that's always a winner. And vegans, I've never cooked for a vegan, but I can imagine it must be really fun because of the amount of creativity. But again, if there's something you'd love, just Google it and YouTube it and get the recipe off there. It's very easy these days. You don't have to only get it from specific restaurants, or, it's been made a lot easier in 2020 to have access to delicious food than it was previously. Can you imagine having to use a recipe book and get it out of a recipe book? That seems seems like a big mission to me.